Hi, you're here with me, Antichristos XIX from IMVU.com, and today we're going to be doing a GIMP tutorial. It's a basics GIMP tutorial that will show you a few basic tools. We'll cover four very basic tools, which is the move tool, the rectangle tool, the scale tool, and the gradient tool. Actually, that's five, I think. But we're going to go and start off. For any image that you're going to be uploading as a texture into IMVU, you need to have it as 256 by 256 pixels. So I've already got that preset over here. You might need to type that in. Once you've got it in here, just click OK. And you'll see that at the moment GIMP has got three separate panels. If you want to make it into one window, which makes it a lot easier to work with, just click over here, Windows, Single Window Mode. It merges everything into one window, which makes it a lot easier to work with. Now let me just go and adjust my palette here, so everything is center again. Okay. So now we have started off with a black 256 by 256 background. For the purpose of this tutorial, it doesn't really matter which color background you start with as long as it's solid. So what we're going to do is we're going to just, before we start on the actual GIMP tutorial, going to quickly show you which hair we're going to be texturing today. It's this one. It's by a mesh developer by the name of Kyla Unknown. It has got two tones. The left side and the right side has got two textures that we're going to have to make. So we're going to use we're going to be making two textures today, and it sounds hard, but making two textures isn't as hard as it sounds. So let's just dive straight into it. Actually, I'm just going to pop this into the IMVU Create mode right now, just by clicking Derive From over here. You might get a warning, just click OK or Yes to it if you do. Okay, so let's just switch back to GIMP, which is currently in single user mode. And to start with using with making a hair, you always want to make the background, which is or the base, which will be the strands and the definition of the hair first. So we're going to do that first, and to do that we're going to use a filter. So just having your background selected with no other active layers open, we're just going to go and select filter. We're going to go to render, we're going to go to clouds and solid noise. Now what you want to have is you want to have the X size all the way, have it slide all the way to the right, so it's at 16, the maximum, and the Y all the way to the bottom at 0.1. So it gives you something like this. New seed will randomize it a bit. I actually like the very first one we had. Okay, that one's quite nice as well. Yeah, I'll just use this one. Well, I'll put it back to 0. There we go. That's one I liked quite nicely. There we go. Click OK, and that will render the background to that. Now, this is too clumped up over here in certain areas, like here and over here. So I want to make this smaller. I'm going to actually make the entire image smaller, so that the smaller these strands are, the more defined it looks. So I'm just going to go to use the scale tool, which you can find over here. It's this one over here. Scale tool. Click on that. Then I'm going to click on the image, and I'm just going to slide this across over here. So it makes this part smaller. As you can see, the strands start getting smaller as well, and I make it about a quarter of the size of the image. Okay, scale. Now you see it looks a lot better. It's a lot smaller already over here, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go and copy this across 3 or 4 times. So I'm just going to add a new duplicate layer, and then I'm going to take the move tool and I'm going to move the duplicate layer to where I want it. Okay. That's about right. I'll do that again. Duplicate layer. And I'm just going to move it to where I want it. Okay. So that looks like how I want it. Now it looks very uniform, so to shape things up a bit, I'm going to go and make this layer over here, the middle one. I'm going to use the scale tool on it again, select it, and I'm going to make it even smaller. It's about half its size. Scale. I'm going to click a new image so that it now anchors that, a new layer, so that the original floating layer is now anchored. And I'm going to duplicate this layer. Okay, scale. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to merge all this into a visible layer. So merge visible layers at the bottom. So you just right click on there and then merge visible layers. Any layer will do. You can right click on any layer that is currently visible. And then you just click on merge. Okay, so now we have this texture, which is, or this background, which we can now start working with. Okay, so first thing that we want to do is, well, I want to shake things up a little bit, and we're going to use the rectangle tool, and we're going to isolate some strands for individual coloring. So I'm going to go and draw a rectangle around this piece over here. So I want to make the rectangle a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to let go of the cursor and of the mouse button, and then I'm going to go to its corner, click on there, and make it a little bit smaller. There we go. And I'm going to do a bigger, I'm just going to go and I'm going to copy this, so Control and C, and then Control V, and you end up with the floating selection layer. And you just click a new layer to anchor it. And I'm just going to go back to the background again. And I'm just going to go and select a slightly bigger area this time. I'm going to go Control C and Control V to paste it again. And then a new layer. Okay, so we have 3 separate layers. We have 3 separate layers here, and sorry, my phone was just ringing there a second ago. We're going to start coloring them, so we're going to go to colors, go to colorize, and that one will be blue. So we could either change this color by sliding around the hue backwards and forwards, and that will give you all your primary colors that you might want. So we got, let's say this one, this blue, that is too bright. We want to go and take it down a bit, and that darkens it a bit by changing the lightness. Don't make it too light or you lose too dark, or it's going to be lose its strand definition. So you just want it slight, something like this, so it's not too dark, it's not too bright. But actually, for the purpose of this tutorial, I want bright colors, so I'm going to be making something a little bit gothic, like that. You saw that hairstyle over there. So a bright highlight would be nice. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it as defaults for a nice blue highlight. and I'm just going to colorize this next layer as well, but I want to make it a different color. So I'm going to slide the slider bar. Let's make it a pink color. There we go. Nice bright pink. Let's make it a little bit brighter. There we go. Okay, so we have our two highlights now. Now we want to go down to the background and want to choose a background base color for it. We're going to make it a darker color so that these highlights stand out a bit more. So we're going to go to colors again. We're going to go into colorize. I want to say a dark green maybe. Sorry, I'm doing the wrong slider here. A dark green. Here we go, here's some greens. I'm going to make this nice and dark. Something like that. And we got a nice dark green. That's actually a bit too dark. Okay. That should be good. And now we have all these three layers together. So what I want to do is I want to merge these three as visible layers. So we have one single layer now as the background. And we're going to, now we want to start making some highlights and some shine. So we're going to make two new layers. We're going to go take this gradient tool over here, and we're going to go and make sure that this is set over here to FG to transparent just by clicking this little box over here. Usually it's set to one of these three, but go to FG to transparent, which is foreground to transparent. Make sure that we are always working with the bilinear tool, because this will make a difference a bit later. And what we want to do is we want to start with the black. So we're going to go and take this layer over here, and we're going to switch this over here just by clicking on the little switcher icon, which switches the background to the foreground and the foreground to the background. And I'm just going to go and I'm going to click over here and then slide down for the distance. Make it about that big. Yeah, that should be fine. Also going to do the same for the bottom. Okay. And we're going to change the opacity here to about something around about 67, I'd say. That's pretty good. When you change the opacity, what you're doing is you're affecting the transparency of that layer. Okay, so that layer is now at 67% of its transparency. Okay, so now we're going to go to the top, to the layer above us, and we're going to start, we'll choose some white color now. We'll switch over to white by just doing the switcher again. That's a bit crooked, so I'm just going to do that again. That's good. And I'll do that one more time. So we have two shiny bits. There we go. So we have two shiny bits now. So I'm going to just go and move this down to about over here to, let's say about 50, yeah, about 40% is good. So now we have these two shiny bits that will stretch around the back of the head and give it a bit more definition. Okay, so now we have our first texture, and that's all ready. So what we're going to do